We are here again, and this time another Buccaneers loss. And you could say that might have just been it for Tampa Bay in 2025. Baker Mayfield throws an interception to lose to the Carolina Panthers 23-20 and a complete collapse. Bad discipline play all around. Luke Gedeke, I believe he had 5 penalties in this game for the offense, and then you had explosive plays given up on the defensive side of the ball. Once again, you could have questionable play calling as well from the offensive side under Josh Grizzard. But here are the Bucs now, no longer in first place for the NFC South. Still have a chance, but man, that loss right there kind of just told you what you've seen in this last half of the season for the Bucs. With me is Caleb Skinner, our writer at BucsGameday.com. Caleb, man, here we are again, and it's so sad that you got to feel for the Bucs fan base, but this team just didn't seem like they cared too much. You saw some effort here and there, but the bad discipline play, even the late flag there on special teams to push you back to begin that 2-minute drive was just inexcusable.
Yeah, brutal loss. Welcome, River. Thank you for joining us.
Come join the fun. Come on.
Awesome.
Come join the fun.
The fun. I don't know if that's the word I would use for it.
Yeah.
Another brutal loss. Luke Gedeke had 4 penalties of his own. Tate Otten got blown off the ball twice for losses there. Baker Mayfield, albeit efficient, not doing anything. Josh Grizzard is just a scripted merchant play caller, if you will, and it's just rough. Shout out to the 2 rookies though. Jacob Parrish, Benjamin Morrison played some pretty solid games, other than Benjamin getting beat by Coker there late in the game, and stupid headbutt there at the end, and it's just a complete failure on all parts. You look at it from every single angle. Special teams played well. Cam Johnson, a great game by him in the return game. Didn't have any coverage lapses because you were just kicking it in for a touchback every single time. Just real ugly overall. And then once again, Rashad White was having the hot hand, and you go away from him. Just brutal overall, and you lose to Carolina Panthers no longer have that lead in the NFC South, and it doesn't look too promising, these next 2 weeks. I'll say that.
Is it me?
You get it.
Yeah, tough one. I don't know what you guys have already talked about here, but
no,
huge imbalance there. If you look at the run and pass, 33 rushing attempts total, and then 26 passing attempts there. So they really just leaned on the run all game. Very conservative game plan from Todd Bowles and Josh Grizzard, and I think it really did come back to bite them there. Not being aggressive, either not trusting your line or your quarterback or whatnot, but ran the ball, ran it somewhat effectively, right? I mean, 5.1 yards carry is quite good. But, Bucky Irving, 19 attempts for Bucky Irving for 3.7 yards per carry is brutal. And they kept on that train the whole game, which I think really did limit their offense. And obviously the defense didn't execute when they had to in certain moments. Rough one from Benjamin Morrison there at the end. Tech got him another time too. It was a return for him that didn't go maybe the way he wanted, but at this point, defense gave up 23, and the offense had I think a few chances to get some points and couldn't do it. So the good news is the Bucs are playing complementary football, and that both units are not very good. So now they have that to look forward to. But yeah. To your point, Caleb, got to beat the Panthers, got to beat the Dolphins. I've said this the last few weeks. Playing like this, I don't know who the Bucs beat, and that just continues to be a common theme. They've lost 3 in a row in the NFC South to some teams they should not have lost to. They lose tough games. They find ways to not win the football game, and I think kind of strange game plan on offense today. With the absolute commitment to the run. For those of you guys watching on TV, the Todd Bowles interview at halftime, he said he's going to really commit to the run again in the second half. I just don't know if that was the case, if that's what they should have done. I thought strange game plan, and it kind of showed, for sure.
Yeah, it showed its true colors for sure. And I was telling y'all in our group chat that it just seems like Bucky Irving's burst has dwindled away a little bit, and he's kind of second guessing some things and thinking too further into things. Usually you just see him just kind of go, and that's what you want with Bucky Irving is that burst. And it seems like Rashad White's the one that has that right now on that offense for you in the running back room, at least. Just kind of just thinking a little bit too much.
Well,
But
they
Josh
gave
Grizzard,
Rashad White 5 carries, and they gave Bucky Irving 19.
well, that's the thing. Your best running back right now, and not right now, it's been that way for the last 3 weeks, has been Rashad White. That's been your best running back, too. And so that's the issue there. And then, just offensive play calling, like you said, and, Caleb as well. Like, just a lot of questionable things, man, that, why are you doing this? There's definitely in the red zone. This team is atrocious in the red zone. I mean, they can't get anything right. You've got your 4, wide receivers back, some of your biggest talent on this team, and you don't give them any shots sometimes. And you just want to take some fade shots with Mike Evans, which I understand you want to do, but you still have some other opportunities with some other guys as well. Just team's awful in red zone. And then if you ever go to the defensive side of the ball, you got guys that are back there. Yaya Diaby, I thought, had a solid game. He brings the pressure to you, but he just can't get a guy down. And that happens.
This team can't finish.
I know exactly. The entirety of this
so.
defense can't get a quarterback to the ground. It's astonishing. It actually is astonishing. That goes to Jason Light and the Bucs front office that's one of the worst. I would say your big L from the front office. They cannot find success in the edge room. They did not do it with Chris Braswell. Total bust there. And you saw Hassan Reddick today go out with another injury. He can't stay healthy for more than 3 quarters. Anthony Nelson is also out of the game. You have nothing off the edge except for Yaya Diaby at the moment. And Vita Vea can only do as much as he can on the inside without Kalijah Cansey helping him. So
it looks like Jason Pierre-Paul did not record a stat today either.
Oh, damn.
I don't know how many snaps he got.
Right.
He was in rotation. There was a point when he was dropping back in coverage today.
I did see that.
I did not with NFL Jesus does not look like Pierre-Paul ended up recording any snaps there.
It just seems predictable all the way around. It seemed like the Buccaneers were playing not to lose the game.
The whole game.
Yeah, and that was from the onset of the game, right? And so if you're going to go into a game in the NFL playing not to lose, you're probably not going to win, right? And then you go back, obviously the miscommunication between Baker and Evans there on that last play where it ended up in a Baker interception, obviously brutal. And then you go back at halftime where Todd Bowles calls a 0 blitz. Apparently he didn't learn from Jeff Hafley last night calling back-to-back 0 blitzes against the Bears and allowed the Bears to come away with a victory. Clearly didn't watch that game and knows not to call 0 blitz when a team's just right side outside the red zone, especially late in the game or, right before halftime. Just not the time to be calling that play. A lot of people were saying, don't blame the coaches, these players aren't it. But it all falls on the head coach and it all falls on the defensive coordinator. And unfortunately for the Buccaneers, your defensive coordinator is your head coach, and he's calling these plays in the most inopportune times, in my opinion. Why are you calling a 0 blitz in that moment? Like, if you're calling it earlier in the drive, cool. If you're calling it, further down the field when they're not as close to the red zone as they particularly are at that moment, whatever, you take that gamble, you might get a chunk play out of it. You live and die with that, whatever. But in that scenario, you just can't do it. So it's everywhere. It's the players, it's the coaching, and ultimately it comes back to why are you playing the game not to lose rather than to just go out there and win.
Yeah, whatever it is, you can talk about defensive scheme, you can talk about players not executing because they're not.
Right.
The lack of talent, which there is at depth, in this Tampa Bay team. Bowles is probably going to bear the brunt of it, right? And after the approach I think the Bucs took to this game, their offensive philosophy, and a few things here on defense, that's probably going to end up being deserved. So I wouldn't put it all on him, but at the end of the day, when you are the head coach and you have your game plan and your philosophy and you go out, and this is a game where you got to beat the Panthers, man. Now you're in a position, just to update you all, Buccaneers need to win week 18, right? Or else game over. if the
Well,
Buccaneers
they, they
are
they have to win next week, River. Let's just
well, I was about to
that
say
straight.
if they lose next week against the Dolphins, and then the Panthers beat the Seahawks, unlikely, then they would be outright eliminated right there next week. That would be game over. So they got to win next week, Caleb. Maybe not statistically because there is still a way they split, but probably just to show that they can win any football game. I think, and to show that we can go in, we can game plan against an NFL football team and beat them. Because so far, after the bye week, they've done that one time to an Arizona Cardinals team
against a bad team
who has gotten
very bad
beat
team.
pretty handily outside of that game. So
Mm.
they need something. It's not often you go, man, they could use this one for morale. They could use this one for morale. And again, there's a little bit of ramification where if you lose that game to Quinn Ewers, what is the score of that game right now with the Bengals? Are the Bengals beating the
44
Dolphins?
to like 22, I believe.
There you
44.
go. Okay, 45-21 final score. So that team you have to beat next week. And just to show that you can do something right. Because right now they're not doing anything right. They're not doing anything right. They're not just a bad team with a lot of talent. And they do have talent. Not a lot of depth. They have a lot of talent. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL right now, I think. So
yeah,
it's showing.
Here's Todd Bowles talking about the interception with Baker, said that there was some miscommunication between
Looks like it,
and Mike on that. And I was telling you guys, I was like, man, Mike looks absolutely exhausted. I know that you got to have your top guy in there. Absolutely. And I doubt that he's going to want to come out off the field anyways, but you know, he was taking underneath the routes and he couldn't run for much further in there. And I'm sure just with everything happening, things certainly seemed like some miscommunication there. And they sure were getting close to field goal range, definitely with Chase McLaughlin, who has a great leg. But, you know, that absolutely just killed them. Absolutely killed them. Just, you know, you're having opportunities there to get down the field and things were working, things were clicking, and just didn't work. I mean, Baker used his legs a lot in this game as well. And you thought this was going to be, you know, what you saw from Baker in the first part of this year where, you know, he leads them down to even maybe a game-winning drive and getting into the end zone, which they had some opportunities to do definitely with their wide receiver unit, but never got that chance when you give the ball away like that.
And it's frustrating, right? I mean, we can nitpick and nitpick and nitpick, but ultimately you have the talent there on offense and you're not able to utilize it to your advantage is just very frustrating. And that's from our point of view. That's from the fans' point of view. I'm imagining it's from the offensive and everybody who's involved there, their point of view as well. But what's it gonna take? I don't know. Like Baker's a shell of himself. He's not even close. I mean, even with Dave Canales, he looked way better than he has this year. And Baker hasn't turned the ball over all that much this year. So like there's just no cohesion. There's no rhythm to this offense. Yeah. Bucky Irving's having decent games, but again, going back to what Logan said, it's, you know, he doesn't have that explosiveness that we saw early in the year or last season. And then when you have Rachaad White on a roll, you just take him out of the game and you don't utilize him anymore. It's just very confusing to me ultimately. Like why would you go away from things? And you know, Todd Bowles, we're gonna ride the hot hand. Okay, but we're not riding the hot hand. We're not doing that. And it's just so aggravating, right? Because you have Jalen McMillan, you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Emeka Egbuka, you have two all-pro left and right tackles, and you know, obviously Gadecki struggled mightily today, and Cade Otton just not being involved at all in the offense. I don't know how to put it really into words at this point on what is wrong, other than like there's no trust, there's no confidence, there's no anything on that offensive side of the ball.
Everything's wrong on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough, guys. I mean, again, we could sit here and be like, well, they should win next week against Miami, but here we are. They haven't won. So
it's going to be the Super Bowl.
I mean, you can also point to like penalties too. Like Carolina was getting away with holds at least 3 or 4
Everybody does,
that
man.
were
Everybody
egregious,
does.
and we can say
Everybody
that, right?
does.
But like that's the NFL. You can't throw a flag every single play on a hold. That's like River said. That's everybody does it. But when
I don't know if I've talked to you about my take here. My take has always been that good teams beat the refs, and let's say definitively this Bucs team is not a good team. So, and even then, I mean, John Bullock headbutting a guy for absolutely no reason to bring him back to the 10.
How do you do
Doesn't
that?
help.
How idiotic! Absolutely idiotic.
You've got, and that's a discipline issue on special teams. That's a player thing, but you got to be able to coach those guys. Hey, don't do that. He's a rookie. I don't know if he'll be coming back at this point.
I was
But
amazed by that. That's
I mean, a
shocking.
lot of penalties that did go through that were Tampa Bay's fault. I mean, like you said, I think Gedeke had like 5.
he had 4. I think he had 4 or 5.
Yeah. So I mean, brutal. Interior line still pretty poor. Graham Barton got taken for a ride by Derek Brown quite a few times today. So hey, listen, man, you've got this Miami team coming up. Maybe the passing game with Quinn Ewers isn't there, but that run game is extremely creative from Mike McDaniel. They've got Devon Chan there who can just, at the drop of a hat, get an explosive on you. And if Miami scores exactly the amount of points that they did today, and then Tampa scores the amount of points they did today, then they lose that football game. So,
I know you can put point to the Bengals having an awful defense, but the Bucs have an awful defense.
Bucs have a bad defense, and Bryce Young is no superhero, and he was not today, but they did enough. So, I guess look in the mirror. I don't know. I think we're done. I think we're done. I think we're done with the look in the mirror. So
it's even more frustrating. You look at it. The Bucs were more efficient on third down. They had more plays. They had more total yards. It's just like flabbergasting of how you go and lose this game, right? And it just comes down to fundamentals ultimately. And if we're in week 16 and you don't have your fundamentals and your details down, like River said, you're not a good football team. Period. Point blank.
Right.
Like that's just it.
I think that's been made abundantly clear. So
Guess what? Injuries can't be an excuse no more either. That's long gone.
No.
That's long gone. You lose your 6 of the last 7.
And people can say, "Oh, you both your interior offensive linemen are." Oh Lord. Man,
we have fun here.
But I mean, people can point at, you lost your starting cornerback Zion McCollum, but what has he really done this year to prove you anything of the contract that he was given? Then they can also point at, missing your 2 interior offensive linemen, for the rest of the season, one for the whole majority of the season. But at the same time, I don't know if those 2 guys are going to really fix the problems that are wrong with the Buccaneers.
Well, I mean, other players aren't performing, right? I mean, you paid Hassan Reddick a lot of money. He hasn't performed. Antoine Winfield for 2 straight years has been nigh invisible on most games. But
he's paid like the number 1 safety in the league. So
so you have a few of those guys that have to step up, and it's just not happening. So that's where we're at, and it is players, it is coaching. Unfortunately for the Bucs, I think it's everything. So we'll see, man. They gotta. You'd hope to win against Miami to show that you have something, even if you don't technically have to. If the Seahawks take care of their business, but with this Panthers team, you never know. They're like a box of chocolates, right? So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, they look bad right now. They don't convince me that they're going to win the rematch, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, you're looking at 7-10, 8-9 right in the face. And we'll see what happens from 6-2.
Yeah. And I said this in the chat during the game. I was like, I'm just ready for this season to be over. I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there that feel the exact same way as I do. But my question for you guys, where do they go from here, really? Like, what do you do? Like, is this like a complete overhaul, like top to bottom?
It should be. And we've talked about this on another pod, but I feel like even if they make the playoffs and the Rams sacrifice them on live television, you would still have to consider moving on, right? I mean, this team
Yeah.
definitely.
Because they've shown their
This team
true
makes
colors.
if this team makes the playoffs, and they might, unbelievably, they're gonna get boat raced. They're gonna get boat raced, and I'll sit here. I'll say it for the next 3 weeks in a row, and I'll come on this pod in 2 weeks if they make it, and I'll say the same thing because it's true. Any given Sunday, but not that Sunday. So the Panthers have a chance to do this, and they might not because they're extremely inconsistent, and the Bucs have this Panthers team to contend with, who is not a good football team, guys. Not a good football team. They're not. And even still, you can't get the job done because you can't beat anybody. So Miami's up next. We'll see. Right now, I don't feel great about that. I don't feel great about any game this team play because right now they're playing like one of the worst teams in football. Not just a bad team, one of the worst teams. So,
yeah, they would have to move on. They'd have to move on if the Glazers are really about it.
And they might not be, guys. They might just like that playoff money, and they might just want to ride that out, and that might be their prerogative. But if they want to win football games, and you know what's better than one home playoff game for revenue? 2. If they want that, then they're gonna have to think about it. So
2. Ain't no way.
So
yeah, and I don't think going and finding a new offensive coordinator fixes things either. It all starts with your head coach, and I mean the defense has been awful. So you can try to say you want to replace offensive coordinator and such. Your defense has actually been worse. I mean, it's been bad, and I think the whole kind of thing with bowls and such, I think that's been over for a little while in the locker room, and it's time to hit a reset. And we'll see if the Glazers want to do that, but I think that whole thing is over with, and you do need a rehaul going into next season because you have so much talent. When we were at training camp, I mean, there was so much high expectations from this team.
There's still talent.
Everybody. I mean, there's
talent
everywhere. Now there's things on the defensive side of the ball for sure that you've got to go out and find and fix as well. Because you've got some older guys, you got some dudes, you got some young guys that you feel strongly about on the defensive side, but you got to find some pass rushers. You got to find some new linebackers. And that's something that Jason Light, I blame him on that. You know, Jason Light, they did not do a good job in the last 2 years of being able to reload in the right way at a linebacker position. Also, too, at the pass rush, they completely failed. Like I said earlier with Chris Braswell, I don't think anybody really expected for Braswell to, you know, he was going to be a project guy 2 to 3 years, but also, too, Yaya Diaby was going to be that same thing. You got to find someone that's a surefire pass rusher. And they did not care about that. They wanted to go in the wide receiver room, and now Mike Evans might end up staying for another couple years. It seems like he's not done yet, but at least you got Emeka Egbuka, and he caught you one ball tonight. Not saying that wasn't a bad draft pick because you obviously needed him this season. You're lucky because you had all those injuries, but you needed a pass rusher. You need him. And Kalijah Campbell can't stay healthy throughout a full season as well, and, you know, he couldn't play for you for all this year pretty much as well. So there's some things that Jason Light has to do within him and his staff that has to do better. And then, of course, too, with this coaching staff, it's got to be cleaned up. And if I'm the Glazers and going to the playoffs doesn't do it for me because you just lost your last 6 of 7 and you lost to some awful teams. I mean, NFC South is garbage, and you barely beat Arizona Cardinals. So
if they're in a different division, we're not even talking about this. They're already packing their bags for Cancun if they're in any other division. So I mean, it's bad. Offense bad, defense bad. Since week 7, Baker Mayfield is the 3rd worst EP ever play and the worst completion percentage over expected in the National Football League. Players aren't playing well. They're not being coached well. It's all bad. So come back next week, guys, and we'll say the same thing.
Sadly so, yeah. We'll be
in Miami.
Yeah, we'll be on site for that one, so we'll be able to do that.
305. Yeah, we'll be there.
What, as an FSU alumni, really looking forward to being in Miami, which last time I was there was
there any
not a great bowl game.
Any good tidbits coming from the presser?
I've been looking. I don't think we have a lot of the beat there.
I think Rick Stroud is there. Yes.
Yeah, but he doesn't do a lot of live tweeting and such.
That's true.
Scott
That's
Smith
true.
does.
Let's see.
I don't think Greg's on site either.
Greg is not on site. No.
So did not have anybody got some
Baker
stuff
Mayfield said that Mike Evans. No, this is what the explanation was.
He's going to blame himself, isn't he?
No, he said Evans thought he was on a scramble, which means that when it's a scramble drill, you just try and get open. right?
Mhm.
Had his back turned to Mayfield, and so Mayfield just kind of threw the ball, and given what happened during the rest of the game, yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't put the full blame on himself in saying that. Like, some accountability would be nice. I understand Mike Evans. They just rough, man. Tough. You just shouldn't be putting yourself in these positions anyways. Like you said, the talent level is so much different than with the Panthers, man. Like, it's just not even close. It's not close, but poor coaching will do that to you, and bad discipline. And that starts with, of course, like I just said, your coaching staff that has really hurt this team throughout the entirety of this season. It's not just your OC and Todd Bowles, but also too just other assistants on the staff that Todd Bowles stays loyal to. It's crazy how parallel and close this is to how Florida State has been the last few years, and a head coach staying loyal to some assistants, and it just continuing to deteriorate your team. It does. And now the Panthers have the lead in the NFC South, but the Bucs have to finish off 2 more. They got to get 2 more straight, and I just don't know. Like you said, Caleb, I just don't know where that's going to happen. I just don't know where that's going to happen.
Totally out. If you were going to get one, today was the day to get one, and you didn't. And it's just not going to happen. They're all confidence, all hope in that locker room is just completely gone at this point. There is no way that these guys are going to be coming out next week with any sort of want to, in my opinion. That's just kind of where they're at. They're ready to pack up their bags, just like I said that I'm ready for this season to end.
It was Anthony. All right, what was the severity of Anthony Nelson's injury?
It was a knee. He was ruled out. We don't know anything else beyond that.
It was super early. I didn't see what happened.
Which, if you don't, if you're down,
I'm telling
Nelson, then Jason
And Reddick.
Pierre-Paul is your last hope.
I know, and Reddick's out at it. I mean,
Yeah.
Reddick, that didn't look good either, and he's been dealing with that leg injury. So now you might be having Jason Pierre-Paul.
I mean, he's
homecoming in Miami next week. Tune in.
Everybody stay tuned for that one.
Tune in. It's going to be electric. Yeah.
We'll finish off here, and this is something we'll have a lot more of a deeper dive at the end of the season, because we have to start looking for names, which we did last season. We actually do that every year, it feels like, when we talk about the Bucs and the NFL draft, but they did not decide to do so this last year. But here on YouTube, asking, do we pay for a proven edge rusher and draft the best linebacker available? You should.
You should.
Yeah,
You should.
because you can't draft them, apparently.
Right. The interesting thing about linebackers is that linebackers are not a first-round position. So typically you go for linebackers in the second round. The problem with that is that they usually go at the very beginning of the second round, and then if you don't draft in the right place, then you've kind of missed the ball on that. But Jason Light decided that he didn't need any more linebackers in the draft or in free agency, and that's looking like one of the worst decisions we've seen from this front office all year. So yes, they do need a LB proven edge rusher. This team doesn't like to pay big money for free agents. They did with Hassan Reddick, and that was the only one. They're going to probably have to start doing that, and they're probably going to have to start giving away their 7th and 6th round picks and not want to hold on to those, so that those guys can be inactive on game day. Right? They're going to eventually want to trade and actually use those picks. I mean, Devin Culp and Elijah Klein both inactive today. Those are, your 6th round picks, your 7th round picks. Go ahead, chat. Go ahead. That's where we're at. So they're going to have to make some trades. They're going to have to get some deals done. They're going to have to pay some guys in free agency if they want, if they're not still paying the Brady bills. And that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. And I was going to touch on the Brady thing here too. You don't have guys begging to come play for you anymore. You don't have the Shaq Barretts. You don't have the JPPs. You don't have
you do have the JPPs.
I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You don't have these guys that are like, yeah, I'll come play for you on a hometown discount because Tom Brady's on the team and going to lead you to get a ring. It's not happening. You're not going to get that. Like, you're still a small market. The only reason that you were able to get those guys to begin with is because Tom Brady decided to come to Tampa Bay. It's no longer the case, guys. That is no longer the case. Obviously, that's our expectation, and we expect to win. But you got to be able to do it with what you have first and foremost. Until you can do that, you're just not going to get those upper echelon players that want to necessarily come to Tampa unless they're at the end of their careers and kind of just want to sail into the sunset here in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the situation the Bucs are in currently right now. They face against the Miami Dolphins next Sunday. We'll be there for that one, and we'll have an instant reaction too from that. Also, to make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button too. We got a lot of live videos coming for you guys moving forward. So smack the like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll have a show for you guys next week before Christmas too, to recap a little bit of this game, maybe look into the future as well, and then talk about Bucs versus the Dolphins and see if this team can magically make it to the playoffs. We'll see. But that's going to do it for us here on Hear the Cannons. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday and have a great start to the week next week. Appreciate y'all. Peace.